In a podcast land where thoughts collide, Brian and Craig will be your guide. No topic too small, no tale too tall. Tune in, laugh out, you'll have a ball. From mysteries deep to light-hearted jokes in a poker rhythm where laughter invokes. Untitled is their name, the fun untamed. Each episode a ride, this shows their claim. Untitled, Brian and Craig, get ready for a twist and a leg shake. In a quirky world where anything goes, join the ride as the madness flows.
Hey, it's episode 20.
Yes. Let's check the goose warning. It's only at level 1.
Oh, level 1. Oh, that's good. The goose warning is low, so yeah. That always makes me feel better when it's not a level 5 goose warning.
Yeah. Although I did the other day when I was going to the place where I was going to go play Unova Tour, I drove by a bunch of places, or I drove by a house, and it had a big backyard, and in the backyard was a bunch of Canadian geese. And I look over at Kate, I'm like, all those immigrants need to go back home. She's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, all those immigrants just hanging out in that backyard. And she looks and she's like, oh, nobody likes Canadian geese.
I don't even like them in Canada. No, I have just issued an executive order. They are now American geese.
It's probably coming.
That would be amazing.
It's I don't even know. I mean,
A lot of people are saying they're the best geese, and we need to have them reflect the American spirit. They're not Canadian geese any longer. Will not stand for it.
they're so mean. Canadian geese are so mean.
They're mean and they poop on everything. I don't like them.
Yeah, they're awful.
I'm not turning around on them like I have on raccoons.
No, I don't think you can.
No, I think
Listen, Canadian geese are probably the worst thing about Canada. And like, if the worst thing you have about a country is your geese,
it's a bird.
you're doing pretty good.
You're
Yeah.
doing all right. You're doing okay. Yeah. I mean, they can balance that out with poutine and Tim Hortons and
Oh,
an unreasonable level of passion for hockey.
yes.
They're doing a lot of things right up there. I like Canada.
There are so many Sabres fans in Ontario.
Really?
So many Sabres fans, yeah.
I wouldn't even think there were so many Sabres fans in Buffalo.
There's quite a lot. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's where they play, so that does make sense. But I don't know. They've been bad for some time now, so I don't know.
25 years? Wait, no. Ever since they lost against the Stars. So what?
1990.
25 years?
Yeah, 26 years. Yeah. They were okay. They've had some moments of being okay. They were never as good as they were then, but since the days of Dominic Hasek. So anyway, we're not here to talk about hockey.
We're not here to talk about hockey. We're here to talk about the Bandits. No, I'm just kidding.
Lacrosse. This is no lacrosse. This is no lacrosse podcast.
No, actually, one of these days you're gonna ask me, "Hey, what did you do?" I'm gonna be like, "Dude, I went to a Bandits game."
Dude,
and it's
should. You should. They're fun. Like if they're anything like the Mammoth games, and it's the same league, so I'm guessing they are. It's a good time. You should do it. It'd be fun.
Well, considering like good tickets are like $22 and keeping center. Hell yeah.
Not expensive. Yeah, that's the other nice benefit of it, is that it's not a big league where everybody is following it, so it's not that expensive to go. So yeah, you should go and then report back. That would be good. Well, since you didn't go to a Bandits game, what did you do since the last time I talked with you, which has been like over 2 weeks? Well, not since I talked to you, but since we recorded.
Yeah. So, as we all know, I was in Colorado. I packed up all my earthly belongings and trucked them out east. We're finally closing for real, 100%. For real, not for play, on March 14th. And then we're going to try and at the same time, we're going to try and get into our house in Niagara Falls.
It's all coming together. I love it when it comes together. Great.
Mm-hmm. And so the only two major purchases we need to make is a fridge and a range. And that's it.
That's not too bad.
No, because we have everything else.
And then you'll be done spending crazy amounts of money for a while, hopefully.
Yes, hopefully. Maybe if I do it right, I'll actually be able to set aside, a couple $100 a month.
Yeah, that's probably a good plan. Yeah. Anything else happen exciting?
Oh man, yes. So we did go to a place How big are you on Catholic holidays?
How big am I on Catholic holidays?
Yeah, because we all call you Craig the Catholic.
Oh,
So
right. Yes, yes. Um, I'm a bit of a lapsed Catholic, I'm afraid, but um, lapsed as it never started. That's how lapsed I am. But
yes.
I can't say that I'm super up on. Aren't they just all like the main like? If you have Saint in front of it, like Valentine or Patrick, are those all? Those are all Catholic, right? Do they have special
Yeah,
holidays like Mormons have special underwear?
they do have special holidays, but I think that's like I don't know how those special holidays work, but they do. So Lent is
Oh,
huge here
yes,
in Western New York.
I do
Huge
know about
Polish
that.
population, huge Polish population, huge Italian population.
That makes sense.
Um, yeah, so they
Ash
have a big thing. Ash Wednesday wasn't that big,
No, well,
but
it's not. I mean, it's
it,
not that exciting of a holiday. You go and they put ashes on your head, then then you can
yes,
spot a Catholic day. That's what some people call it.
that's by a Catholic day. Well, Craig, and during Lent, all these Polish and Italian places do start something that they call a fish fry, and it's
Yeah,
exactly what you think, but it's like they do it up all crazy. So it's like parsley potatoes, slaw, like bread. It's crazy. So we went to this place called Godowski's in some. It's like the only building on that street that isn't boarded up, which is
oh, jeez.
wild.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it's wild, but it's so good, and they sell pierogies and Polish beer. It was great.
Awesome. Good.
Yeah,
My favorite thing about this time of year is that like every fast food restaurant has like they start advertising their fish sandwiches because the only time,
you know,
yeah, when
I
advertising,
never made the connection until now. Like,
yeah, that's
never
totally what it
did.
is. Yep. If you look it out, every single plate, like Popeye's Chicken is advertising some kind of fish thing, and like Arby's is advertising their fish sandwich. It's like, yeah, it's Lent now. You can tell it's Lent because the fish sandwiches are getting advertised. So dumb.
But Arby's
Uh,
has ocean meat.
they have the ocean meats. Yeah, exactly. Remember when it was just roast beef? I do.
Yeah,
Now it's
average
also.
farmer remembers.
And I've only eaten once or twice there on a thing that wasn't a roast beef, and everything I've ever had that wasn't roast beef is not good. It's weird mystery, far too fatty, kind of gelatinous. Yeah, the Arby's stick to what you're good at, which is the roast beef. I like the roast beef. I'll take a beef and cheddar.
I
That's all right
did
as far as
have
cheap fast food.
did have a burger one time there that was pretty good.
What? A burger?
Yeah, it was like deluxe roast beef burger, and I was like, all right, whatever, and it was
Oh,
pretty good.
okay, well that's good. Well, don't like ever get like the pork loin sandwiches or anything where they say pork.
Mm,
No, Arby's should deal mainly in cow. That's what I'm because a hamburger falls under that category as well. So just eat the cow if you go to Arby's. Don't eat chicken.
that's
Don't eat
fair.
pig. Just cow. So anyway,
Yeah.
my last couple of weeks, I have two things have happened. I remember the date. It was excuse me, February 26th. I was eating a thing that I made, which was a quinoa pizza bite, and I put my fork in it, and it was really way too big. And so instead of cutting it like a civilized person, I just put the entire giant thing on the end of my fork and started trying to eat around it. And
Okay.
that was a mistake because I
Ooh.
misjudged the angle of the fork, and I bit down real hard with the fork right in between my two front bottom
Oh
teeth.
no.
Yeah, and it didn't hurt, but it made this
Oh
really,
no.
really awful sound, and it
Oh
felt like
no.
something had been jammed in between my teeth. So I went to go get a piece of floss, and like there was
No.
nothing there. And what I did is I just chipped a giant chunk out of the front of my tooth, and that was unfortunate. So
You have to go to the dentist?
I'm going to the dentist this week. I think Friday this week. So I'd already had a dentist appointment scheduled, so I didn't make anything. It's not super bad. Like it's funny how the body quickly adjusts. Like I barely notice it now. Like it's there and I can feel it, but like your tongue just gets used to how your mouth feels and it doesn't feel that weird anymore. But
Mm.
it's not like noticeable. Like you don't look at me and think, oh no, what's wrong with that man? It's barely
Oh man,
noticeable.
Craig the Catholic chipped his tooth.
He sure did. I don't know if I like this Craig the Catholic.
I don't know, man. It just rolls off the tongue. I don't know.
It's very strange. So yeah,
It's
so I
well, I mean, that is the GDP of this podcast. So.
Sure. Yeah. I'm sure we're very big in Catholic spaces.
No, I'm saying just being strange.
Oh, that's true. No, that is 100%. I thought you were saying that was our audience or something. No. Okay.
Yeah, we're number 7 on the charts for Catholic users, which is really weird.
The Catholic podcast charts. It's a very big thing.
It's the key demographic, one would say.
It's so big. And the fact that we're 7th, I think, bodes pretty well for us. I wouldn't have guessed we're that high. Yeah, that's great. We're right behind
it's right next to
Life.
Yeah, right behind. And also, we still can't get over the hump of Our Lady of Perpetual Motion's podcast for runners. So
Our Lady of Perpetual Motion. That's a great name. I love it.
I can't take credit for making that up. It's actually the name of one of the churches here. Yeah, it's one of the churches here.
Our Lady of Perpetual Motion?
Yeah. There's another one called it's like Saint Benedictine with face full of tears before God or something. I'm not making this up. It's wild.
Whoa. What if they both had schools and like they had like a basketball game and Our Lady of Perpetual Motion was playing against Saint Benedictine face full of tears or whatever, and like just the uniform. That would be quite.
Yeah, but they're known as like the Flying Nuns or some crazy shit.
First, the Flying Nuns and the tear faces are facing off in an epic battle of Catholic basketball today.
Yeah, sorry, we went on a tangent. What was the other thing that happened to you?
It's not something necessarily that happened, but it's a realization that I had. My son is 17 years old, and I have determined. Well, let me first give you the story. On Thursday night, he went to bed at around midnight, which is pretty normal for him. In fact, that's almost early for him. Sometimes he'll stay up till 2 or 3. Like he stays up all the time. But they didn't have school on Friday, so yesterday my son.
For Lent.
No, it was for I think parent-teacher conferences or something. You would think because Craig the Catholic son goes there that it would be for Lent, but I don't believe so.
It would, yeah.
Plus, Lent is like 50 days long or something. So if they got school off for all of Lent, it's like a month and a half, and that would be bad. So
no, I'm just saying the first Friday of Lent.
I don't think there's anything special about the first Friday of Lent, is there? It's like the third day of Lent.
Yeah, it's just the third day of Lent.
Yeah.
It's not special.
It's now a national holiday. Everyone gets the day off. Anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, dumb. So my son,
local devout Catholic, Craig, rejoices
because he gets Fridays off on the first Friday of Lent. So weird. He slept from midnight on Thursday until 5:30 p.m. last night.
Oh man.
Which is a very long time. And this is what I have determined about my son, is that he is a sleep camel. This is the theory I am developing. Camels can go for very, very long periods of time without having to drink water, right? And they go to the desert. But then when they get to water, they drink and load up and, fill up the hump, basically. So my theory here is that my son, because he's like half vampire, like he stays up all night. Like he never sleeps. He'll get like 2 hours of sleep at night sometimes. So I think he's just a sleep camel. He can stay awake and stay awake and stay awake and stay awake. And then when he gets to a point where he can sleep, he just sleeps forever. And so I have determined that he is a sleep camel. And I think that's a new thing, and scientists need to study it because I'm pretty sure it's a thing. So anyway, that's the things that happened to me. My son slept, and I broke my own tooth like an idiot. So not a real exciting week around here, but it is what it is. So you know what time it is now? And since it's been a very long time, I have multiple news stories because, man, the news doesn't stop.
The news does not stop.
It does not stop. First of all, I love a weird auction.
Okay.
I'll have, when things that you don't expect to sell for a lot, it's always fun. Like the banana art that sold for $6 million or whatever.
Oh my God.
This one didn't go for quite that much, but it's right up our alley, I think. So a single Flamin' Hot Cheeto sold at auction this week for $87,840, Brian.
Okay, a Flamin' Hot Cheeto.
Yeah. Because usually you can get those for less than that. Like even with tariffs.
Yeah, you can get like a whole bag for like $1.60.
Something like that. Yeah, like that seems excessive. But here's the reason that it sold for so much. It's shaped like a Charizard.
So is this like, people see the face of God in a, in a
No, no,
grilled
no,
cheese sandwich or
no,
something?
no, no. You don't have to use your imagination for this one. In fact, if you'd like to see it, I posted a picture of it on our Instagram. So if you go to Untitled with Brian Craig at Instagram, you can see the Cheetozard. It is a single flaming hot Cheeto that is shaped like a Charizard, and it is in a plastic box, and it has been attached to a card that says Cheetozard, which is kind of great, actually.
So,
But
actually, I would pay money for that. I don't think I would pay thousands of dollars for that,
it's
but I
awesome.
would.
Like, yeah, it's not
It's
$87,000
okay.
awesome.
I'm gonna burst your bubble here and say it's not really shaped like Charizard. I'm gonna say it's shaped more like the original Mario sprite or the
Oh,
original Bowser sprite from
like the
Mario in
Bowser?
the '80s.
No, you're not
Yeah,
wrong there. Like he's hopped. Like you have to run underneath him and then jump on that little axe thing,
yeah,
and then the boot goes out from underneath him.
yeah,
Yeah, I think it looks like a lot like Charizard. It's just Charizard from a side angle, which you don't see very often, but
yeah.
it
That's true.
definitely has
Okay.
a dragon-like shape. So yeah. So anyway, that sold for $87,840, which again seems like too much, but I love when things like that meet my interest. An auction for something stupid that goes for way too much money, and Pokemon. It's like when worlds collide. So I had to bring that one up. It's pretty
Yeah,
good.
that's true.
The other thing, India is on some next level shit, and I'm in favor of it.
Okay.
An Indian man was awarded in court this week a little over $200 because he sued a movie theater chain for showing too many commercials before a movie, and
What?
he won. This guy named Abhishek M.R. from Bangalore filed a suit with the Bangalore District Consumer Disputes Redressal Commission after attending a movie screening at a Metroplex, and there were 17 commercials prior to the movie starting, and he didn't like it because the film had been scheduled to end at 6:30, but because of all these commercials, it didn't end until just a little after 7 o'clock in the evening, and this caused him to be late
Oh,
for a business meeting work call, and so he got in trouble with his boss or something, and so he sued for damages for an unfair trade practice because they were showing too many commercials at the movie theater, and he won. Like in America, this would never ever happen because everything here is a horrible shit show and everything's going to hell. But in India, you can actually win a lawsuit because they're showing too many commercials. And so now everybody's like worried at movie theaters. They're like, well, we can't show too many commercials because people will start suing us and win. So like,
I think the perfect amount is between 5 and 7.
I would agree because I don't want them to go away. Like, I want regular commercials to go away. Like, take your Toyota Tacoma truck commercials before the
Yeah,
movie.
you shove it.
Yeah,
Just shove it.
those can go straight to hell. But like,
Yeah,
I want to see trailers for new movies that are coming out when I go to the
yeah,
theater. That's part of the fun. So
yeah.
yeah,
Like I said, the sweet spot, 5 to 7.
I'd agree with you there. 17, and I don't know if they're commercials, if they're previews. I mean, I don't know how India does. Apparently, if you take somebody to court and you've shown too many commercials as a movie theater, you can actually lose a lawsuit there. So, I mean, it's only a couple $100, but hey, that's pretty great.
Well,
So,
yeah, but still, I don't know. I think that no. If you're gonna show me a commercial in a theater, it better be a 4 minute long commercial. It better have a beginning, middle, and end, and I better be crying at the end of it.
yeah, there needs to be a character on an arc. We need to have emotional stakes, and yeah, and get really invested if it's gonna be a commercial. Otherwise, get that out of my movie theater. So anyway,
Yeah, and then at the end, Dodge Ram Truck Month. And you're like, oh, I didn't even see that coming. Oh, what?
now I want to dodge though. That commercial was so good.
Yeah, that little girl finally got to her pony show because of that Dodge Ram truck. I don't know.
I was gonna say, I think it needs to be better than that. We'll work on it. That's what we do is we come up with good, usually it's movie pitches, but maybe it'll be commercial pitches because really it's like a short movie. A good commercial is
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
short.
Well, a good one. Yeah, I mean, I guess Super Bowl commercials are like short movies.
Although the Super Bowl commercials this year were kind of bad. I thought I wasn't a big fan.
I heard none of them were good.
Yeah, they weren't. They
But,
weren't.
I mean, the matchup wasn't good either. But I'm glad that the Eagles whooped the Chiefs' ass. But I digress.
Yeah, that was. I liked the Super Bowl. Don't get me wrong; it was great. I enjoyed the Kendrick Lamar halftime show. I really, really enjoyed the fact that the Eagles thumped those jerks in red made me very happy. Everything about it was good. So maybe the commercials weren't super great, but that's okay. All right, our final story comes to us from Uber producer Lauren. He sent this to me, and it's good. Now I don't want to make fun of this woman because it's pretty certain that there was some kind of mental breakdown happening here, but it's still a good story. So I thought I would share it. So wait for it, Brian. A Southwest Airlines flight. Yeah. Be thankful you weren't on
Southwest.
the one for. I don't hate Southwest. They're okay. They're not bad.
Well, I don't hate them, but like every time I go, I'm always like, oh, here we go, another delay. Not surprised.
Well, this does involve a delayed flight, but you cannot blame Southwest. Have you ever wished that you weren't on a flight, like right after you got on it, and you're like, oh man, I wish I need to get off this plane. Generally you just gotta get on the plane. But if you really ever need to get off of a flight, there is a way.
Yeah.
There is a way. A Southwest Airlines flight from Houston to Phoenix was forced to return to the gate this week.
Okay.
And the reason was because there was a passenger on this plane. She got on the plane and then she immediately wanted to get off, but they had closed the door. Once they do that, generally they're gonna go to their destination because that's how airplanes work. They close the door. Mm-hmm. Everybody who's on is going, and everybody who didn't make it doesn't get on, and that's just how it works.
Mm-hmm.
This woman was not happy when she told the flight attendants that she needed to get off. They're like, sorry, you're on this plane now. You're going to Phoenix. That's just how it is. And she's like, no, I need to stay in Houston. So things devolved from there, let's say.
Okay.
The woman started yelling, and she got up and started running up to the front of the cockpit, or not the cockpit, but the front part of the plane, yelling nonstop and jumping up and down and making a very loud disturbance. I mean, weird, but not like news on Untitled weird yet.
Yes.
She needed to get off. They wouldn't let her get off. They're like, no, sorry, ma'am, you need to go back to your seat. You need to go back to your seat. She started complaining and saying that she had to get off. She had to get off. And she started talking about how she was bipolar and how she had, problems, like just oversharing, just talking all sorts of things.
Yeah.
And they were sympathetic, but still not letting her off the plane, making everyone on the plane nervous because she is yelling. Like she is not going easy into that good night. Going gentle into that sweet good night. I don't remember how exactly that phrase. Anyway, Rage Against the Dying of the Light, the whole thing. Yeah, I can't remember how it goes. That's not important now. Rage Against the Dying of the Light. Okay, it came to me. I'm sorry. So, as a last ditch effort, this woman, whose name has not been released because no charges were filed, she just got naked.
What?
Yeah. She took off all her clothes at the front of the airplane and started jumping up and down naked and continuing to yell. At which point, the airplane did head back to the gate because apparently the line for stopping the plane or not stopping the plane is, they have one of those flow charts. Yeah, like they have one of those flow charts. Like, is your airplane fully fueled? No, you have to go back to the gate to get fueled. Yes, you may proceed. Do you have a naked woman jumping up and down in the cabin trying to get into the cabin or into the cockpit? No, you may continue your flight. Yes, return to the gate. So they did their little checklist and they realized that we do have a naked woman jumping up and down trying to get in the cockpit. This is bad. So so they returned to the gate. And again, I'm sure this woman is having some mental issues. I'm not trying to make fun of her, but at the same time, it was a naked woman jumping up and down on an airplane, making it go back to the gate. It is newsworthy. They got back to the gate. They opened the door, and someone came on and put a blanket over the top of her. And I assumed they were going to arrest her or do something, but you can see from the video. I mean, everything's blurred out. You're not seeing all of the parts, thankfully.
Yeah.
But as soon as the blanket gets put over her shoulders and the gate is open, she just yoinks right out of there and just runs into the airport. So what we don't see is that there is a woman completely naked except for a blanket over her running through the airport. She was apprehended and apparently taken to a hospital for a psychiatric evaluation, which I think is good. No charges were filed. She was not arrested. She was just taken to get looked at, which I think is good. But that's what happened. There was a naked woman jumping on a plane, Brian. So the flight was originally intended to leave, I think it was like 2:30 in the afternoon. I don't think it ended up leaving till 4:55. So that plane was delayed by over 2 hours, which is unfortunate. But everybody who was on that plane now has a story that they can tell for the rest of their life. And I guess sometimes that's worth 2 hours of your life. It's like when someone sings to you early in the morning at a gas station. Like,
In
yeah,
the
it's a
fog.
clear time in the fog. Yeah, so it's even more eerie. Yeah. Now you have a story like that to
A
share.
special time
It was a special time. So anyway, I'm Craig, and all of that is the news.
is the news. Okay, so Craig, I decided I was going to regale you with a story from Buffalo.
I like that.
Okay, so because a lot of crazy newsworthy things happened here, and so this one is Bills tinged.
As are most stories from Buffalo, but okay, proceed. I'm excited.
I'm going to read you the headline. Naked man on LSD and cocaine and other substances charged for going into construction pit at the new Bills Stadium.
It's Naked Day on Untitled with Brian and Craig. All
Which
right.
is wild because we just decided that it was Craig the Catholic. So, go figure that one out.
I'm Craig the Catholic, and I support naked people getting on planes and going into construction sites.
Yes. But anyways, so he hopped the fence, quote, while under the influence of multiple drugs and alcohol, and fell into a pit at the new Bills stadium. This was a couple years ago, I think.
Oh, okay. That's still good.
And so they're like, what? And so security personnel flagged down the police, and they're like, it gets worse. He was covered in feces somehow.
Well, I guess if you're in a pit naked, you're like, well, this is a good time to poop.
Yeah. He said the 29-year-old man mentioned to police he was under the influence of a combination of alcohol, LSD, cocaine, and marijuana. To which the Erie County Sheriff says when you're taking LSD, cocaine, and marijuana, you're not going to read the signs. You're not going to read anything.
That's quite a cocktail, man. Marijuana, LSD, and booze.
But it gets worse / better.
Oh, good.
He says you wouldn't be in a porta potty, jumping inside it, covering yourself with excrement. You wouldn't be doing it. That's just a very isolated issue.
I mean, that's true.
Um,
not a thing I've ever done, but I've never been on LSD, marijuana, and booze all at the same time. So who's to say what I would?
To make yourself feel better, he wasn't hurt. Nobody
Good.
else was on site, and he was charged with criminal trespass and all that. he says, and you know what? And I have a follow up to this, and I believe the follow up is that he basically apologized and like, yeah, all right, man, you kind of already went through it, so.
Oh, that's good.
He
didn't get punished too hard.
Be free, my child. Be free, my brother in Christ. Go to Our Lady of Perpetual Motion and Saint Geraldine, Tears Before God, and say 5 Hail Marys.
They're giving out penance to do for legal crimes now.
Yes.
I love it.
Another funny story. I was just about to leave work yesterday, and coming down on the emails was a thing about this person who stole donuts.
What?
And got arrested after a short chase. And we, as we do, we reached out to the arresting agency and he sends us back a quote. And the quote was, "You can't expect to steal a cop and not get caught."
I mean, you don't mess with a cop's donut. That's no good.
Yeah. But do you know where that came about? Do you know why that started to be a stereotype?
Cops and donuts? No, but I'm excited to find out.
So back in the day, there was only like a handful of things open 24 hours, and one of them was a donut shop. And what are you going to do when you're a cop and you're hungry and you're working all night? You're going to go to a donut shop and get a donut and a coffee. So that's where it came from.
That totally makes sense. Yeah, because like donut shops, they get up at like they get up at your time to make donuts. You and the donut people have the same schedule.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I forgot. So on Fat Tuesday, it's a big thing in the Polish community to make punchkis.
Punchkis? What's this? I do not know a punchki.
So a punchki is basically a very big jelly donut filled with like not normal berry flavors. I guess normal berry flavors like raspberry, but some get a little silly with it. But instead of it being like a donut dough, it's more of like a cake or bread dough. So it's like
Oh,
really filling.
that sounds like it
Yeah.
would give me a tummy ache, but also tastes pretty good.
Correct, sir. It does give you a tummy ache.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe I'll eat half of
So
one
yeah,
and then save
very sad.
save a ramekin of donut for later.
I just wanna throw that out there.
Very good. I like that you're just doing news stories now too. It
Yes, a
makes me happy.
ramekin of a donut. Yes.
Yeah.
So there you
Thank you. Thank you for acknowledging my dumb callback.
go. Well, I figured there was nothing like no, I figured there wasn't I didn't have any it was a really tough time. It wasn't a tough time, but it was a long week at work. I didn't have time to
Oh
look
yeah,
up
man.
craziness.
No,
So
that's
I
a,
figured I'd
I'm
give you
here.
some craziness that I heard about.
I'm here for a naked news story, man. So like a guy falling into a pit naked and it being Bills related somehow. That's A+ content as far as I'm concerned. You
A
can always
plus.
you can always just bring a story about a guy doing something naked, and I'll be okay with it.
X naked
It's all good.
doing Y. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So, all right, it is movie pitch time, and I have one. Like this one was like custom made. Like I'm ready to go. So,
Oh shit.
um,
Okay.
yeah. This one is awesome. All right, so it's just past February. We're just at the beginning parts of March. When this comes out, it might be April by then, but that's okay. It's still February in our hearts a little bit. So it's going to be like a Valentine's Day movie theme kind, a love story of sorts.
Made for
Uh,
Hallmark?
no, because I don't like Hallmark movies. So no, it's not made for Hallmark. It's much more. We're gonna make it more authentic. It's not gonna be like the same six plots that are just thrown up in the air and resliced and repackaged as basically the same thing over and over again. This is gonna be a love story between a man from Buffalo and a woman from Houston,
Okay. Oh.
and they
Oh
fall
no.
they fall, they fall in love because they're both trying to bid on a Cheetozard, and there's a live auction because I'm pretty sure
Mhm.
the actual auction was done not live, but they traveled to I don't know where the auction took place. We'll say New York City because that sounds fun. Who doesn't
Yeah.
love a love story that happens in New York City? They travel to New York City for this auction, and neither of them are super affluent. They don't have tons of money, but they all have a passion to want to own a Cheetozard. And this is probably their only chance to really be able to make that dream happen. And so they start bidding, and they start bidding against each other, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And some anger develops because the price keeps going up, and it's just these two bidding against each other over and over again.
Okay.
Both of them really, really want to win it. So they've gotten the price up to an unreasonable $10,000, which that's too much for a single Cheeto. But
Oh yeah.
then a Mr. Burns type comes in and just bids $87,000 and crushes both of their dreams simultaneously, but also bonds them against him. And
Ooh.
so Mr. Burns wins the auction, and he says, "Excellent," and he buys the Cheeto, and then much to their horror, he just goes ahead and eats it because he's an asshole.
No.
But
This sound you wish this sounds like a Simpsons
yeah, it
story.
really
I
does.
mean, I'm not
It
gonna
really
lie.
does. Yeah, maybe there'll be a Simpsons episode. I don't know. But anyway, the two of them both crushed by what has just happened because their dream has not only been crushed, like figuratively, it's literally been crushed between the teeth of Mr. Burns. So they go to a deli and they're just sitting there and they decide to start talking through their trauma basically of the Charizard being eaten by Mr. Burns. And they
Mhm.
start going back and forth and they start telling stories of their past. And it turns out they both have stories of being naked. So, she tells her story of going through a psychotic episode on a plane heading for Phoenix one day. He tells a story about falling into a pit at Rich Stadium. And yeah, they just become closer and closer, and all of their shared trauma between wanting to get a Cheeto in the shape of a Charizard, their past of both having naked stories that are a little bit ridiculous. They end up falling in love, and they go and they play Pokemon Go, and they end up getting a house in Omaha, Nebraska for some reason, and they just spend the rest of their days together, and it's just a real sweet story. So yeah, it's a love story.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a meet cute,
Oh.
and yeah,
I was
yeah.
about to
So
say, oh, that's a meet cute,
yeah, for sure. I beat you to it. So that's mine. It's a very kind and loving, nurturing love story about two people who got naked inappropriately and may have either involved psychotic breaks or a combination of marijuana, LSD, and alcohol. But either way,
You know what?
love is love.
We appreciate that. Love is love. And the love of a man and a woman and their Charizard Flamin' Hot Cheeto cannot be denied.
Definitely not. So I don't have a good name, but there's got to be a good name in there somewhere. We have to get the Pokemon people involved. But somehow, Charizard in love or something. Yeah. There's
Cheetozard in love.
Cheetozard, yeah. Love at a time of Cheetozard.
Ooh, there we go.
Yeah, there we go. We hit it. So, all right. That's my dumb movie. What's yours?
Okay, so it's going to start off. A businesswoman, like the Hallmark movies, lady big business. Sorry, lady big city. She's like, okay, I have to get on a business call, but I want to watch this movie. It's the only time I can carve out this entire week to watch this movie. So she goes into a theater and she's like, okay, so I'm going to watch this movie. And so she starts watching this movie and she's like, God, there's a lot of previews. Like, man, there's like 18 previews, man. So she's like, whatever. And she's not checking because, she's watching her movie, Cheetozard in Love. And, she's really, really falling for the characters, the great writing, all that stuff.
Yeah.
She comes out and she looks at her phone and she's like, holy crap, I missed my meeting. And so she's like, you know what, screw this noise. I'm going to sue. Because of pain and suffering, I'm going to sue the operators. I'm going to sue Regal Cinemas. We'll just say it's Regal. She's just like, okay, well, you know what? You made me miss my call. She missed her call. Meeting, everything was fine. And then they're like, no, well, okay, but you need to, and she loses. And so now she has to pay $87,840 or $480. So she's like, crap.
Yeah.
So she's like, making her grilled cheese sandwich because she gave up, bacon for Lent because she's, Clara the Good Catholic. Did you see what I did there?
I do.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Okay, good. So Clara the Good Catholic is like having a grilled cheese sandwich, and she looks at it and she's like, "Holy sweet Jesus! It's Our Lady, sweet perpetual. It's Our Lady of Perpetual Motion with tears of grace before God on the grilled cheese." So she takes it to the auction and says, "Oh my God," gets it all certified and all that, and he's getting ready to sell it. And when she bumps into Jonathan Little City, who is, she came from a small town and she lives in the big city, and this is now her husband. This is now her childhood best friend, and is now really dashing and whatever. And
of course
they bump into each other, and she's like explaining to him, and he's like, "Lady, you're crazy. That's wild." And so it starts off with a meet cute. And it goes nowhere. We like to call that in the film biz as a red herring. So I want to just throw that in there because the real thing is she's got to pay off this debt, right?
Sure.
And so she ends up, it goes for auction. It sells for $1.6 million. Her grilled cheese. So it really is. Yeah. So a big return on investment, as the business people would say.
Excellent ROI for grilled cheese.
An ROI. Yes. And so she's like, all right, whatever. So she's got the money. She takes it. She puts it in savings, whatever. And then she realizes, and then she thinks, oh man, all this money, this would have made me happy, but it doesn't. I feel hollow. So she, decides to take a bunch of LSD and marijuana and cocaine and a little bit too much tequila. And so she's like, you know what? And so she just, finds herself at the Bill Stadium and just starts running around the Bill Stadium, just like high on drugs, completely naked, out of her mind, and then falls down on the field. And then she sees the face of Josh Allen floating there. And Josh Allen says, "Is this really what you want to do with your life?" And she says, "No." And so finally she has a come to Josh Allen talk. And Josh Allen,
"Oh no!
You gotta like stop with the abuse and just go back to what you were doing and just let this all behind you." So she's like, you know what, Josh Allen, that's exactly what I'm going to do. And so she rides down her high rides down. She picks up her clothes and she leaves. And she's like, and so she decides to start a nonprofit health clinic for the youth. And that's what she does. And there we go. That was a very long, meandering, no point movie.
It had two things that I love. First of all, you incorporated my movie into the movie she was watching, which I think is just really good podcasting. So A+ there.
Yes.
A+ there. The other thing is you said the words, she had a come to Josh Allen moment. And and for that, I will always be grateful.
Well, because Josh Allen is, the royal wedding.
He's Buffalo Jesus. I understand.
He's Jesus. That is the name of this episode, Buffalo
Buffalo
Jesus.
Jesus.
It was going to be Craig the Catholic, but now it's
Oh.
Buffalo Jesus.
It could be both. Craig the Catholic and Buffalo Jesus. Oh.
Oh, like Harry Potter and the Prisoner of whatever. Yeah, okay.
There you go. Yeah,
that's
exactly.
really funny.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Craig the Catholic and Buffalo Jesus.
Yeah, there we go.
And there we are. Another episode comes to a weird, jarring, strange end, and we hope you enjoyed it. But more importantly, we hope you have a box.
Yes, we hope you have a box of little baby Betty Gays, also otherwise known as Q-tips.
As Q-tips, yeah. But
what are we gonna do with that?
I mean, you don't look at the front of it. Is what you definitely don't do. You probably flop that bad boy over and peruse the back of it. Yeah, I think you might want to read the back of the Q-tip box. Because that seems like a good idea.
Untitled with Brian and Craig is produced and edited by me, Brian Bennigan. It is also hosted by me, Ryan Nottingham, as well as Craig Dodge. Opening and ending themes are created by AI, so nobody has license to those.